So a very important update coming from ex NFF's boss, Ahmad Pinnick, and he said that they've done everything that they need to do, to assist the team, to support them, to motivate them, in order for them to get the victory in these playoffs. Not just the victory, but to just go all out and basically qualify us into the World Cup in 2026. And this is just coming very recently, after he took a trip to Lagos, and there and then he gave that interview to the media. Of course, we'll know some of the issues with the team. We talk about unpaid salary or wages, long overdue. We talk about some bonuses being owed. We talk about incentive being added to the boys, to the players, in terms of like maybe they made it to the playoff, and they need some incentive to actually boost their their confidence and their motivation level to push, to keep pushing. It's not just with the Super Eagles. Every team does it. If you achieve a new feat, there is always something to actually motivate these teams to keep going. So these are the areas that are the more pressing at this point. So I will assume that the ex NFF's boss coming out to make this kind of statement that they've done everything that they can do, that it's now left for the boys to go out and get results. I'm assuming that they have covered all these aspects, the salary, the wages, the bonuses for the playoffs, and every other thing that the boys are clamoring for, that maybe did not go out to the media. Talk about infrastructure, kits, facility, all of those things. I'm sure all those things have been sorted out. But quickly, just to share, in the words of the NFF's boss himself, while he was in Lagos, he said, everyone involved has had sleepless nights, making sure the team is well prepared. We've provided the best possible environment. Now it's up to the players to deliver. There's no magic in football, only preparation, focus, and belief. Nigeria has always surprised the world when faith in the team seems low. This could be one of those moments again. So that's what he's saying, obviously referring to the playoffs that we have first against Gabon on the 13th of November, and then winner in that game, hopefully Nigeria, will now go on to play the winner between DR Congo on the 16th. But this is definitely a very good news. Hearing this, it gives me some bit of sigh relief, because obviously these are some very important things that the boys would need. Sometimes you don't get to know of these things as a fan, but the truth is these things are very important as well, and they can actually impact the way that the boys perform. So when we see them line up again to play against Gabon, we'll know that, okay, some of these things have been sorted out, and they don't have any reason to not bring their A game to the pitch. But let me know what you think about this, and then we're just going to move further and talk about other stories. Chrysanthus Uche has now been reintegrated into the Crystal Palace first team. Of course, he made that move from Getafe, joined Crystal Palace this summer, but I mean that move hasn't been the best, in my opinion. Not just in my opinion, but in general, because it felt like the moment he made that move, Chrysanthus Uche that we knew kind of vanished in a way, because Crystal Palace are not using him. I don't know. They've not really said a lot of things that could have been the cause. Maybe it's injury or match fitness. I think match fitness is the major issue, with Chrysanthus Uche. Because a while ago he was relegated to play with the under 21s. They actually played a game, I think, this midweek or so. And then I saw that news. I don't think I've talked about it here before, that Uche Santos was relegated to play with the under 23s. But it was really devastating for a player of that caliber. Last season, he was one of the two best rising stars in La Liga. So he was highly sought after. A lot of clubs wanted him, from Italy, France, I think even in the German Bundesliga. But he decided to make that move to the Premiership, even though he reluctantly made the move, because at some point he felt like he was not going to make the move. So he's such a very good player, quality player, for that matter. So I didn't see reason why they would now send this man to under 23. But again, he came back into the squad. The coach introduced him into the first team in their Europa Conference League game today. Sadly, they lost that game 1 goal to 0 at the hands of AEK Lanaka. It was actually a home game. The only goal came in the 51 minutes, scored by Bajic. But Uche Crisantos uh, didn't play much of that game. He just had to come in from the bench and played just 3 minutes, which is definitely not enough time for you to make an impact, in a game, except maybe you're very lucky and it's your day. You just come in and boom, 1 minute you're scoring goals. It happens sometimes. But the most important thing is that this man has returned back to the first team, and I really, really hope that he can be given the chance to show himself to play in the Premiership, which is obviously the reason why he came to the club on loan, from Getafe. And I think that deal actually has a clause that Uche Santos has to make up to 10 appearances, 10 starts for the Crystal Palace side for that deal to be made permanent. But if he doesn't make that amount of starts, then it's also very possible that he's going to be sent back to Getafe next season. But let's move forward, guys, and talk about what's happening right now with Maduka Okoye, who obviously made his appearance after 2 months plus. So Maduka has reacted to his comeback, recently, where he was arguably the reason why they didn't lose that game. Of course, they had a lot of the criminal had a lot of chances to bury that one, but Maduka Okoye stopped most of those shots. But he's come out now to react, and in his words, he said that I'm happy to be back doing what I love the most, back to fighting alongside my teammates, back to fighting in front of our fans, back to doing what I'm used to doing since I was a young boy, back to following the path my father fought for me, back to having fun, back to chasing dreams, back to doing what I'll die doing. So that is his words. Of course, the last line is really strong. It just shows you how important football is for this man. Some people do doubt him very much. Some people doubt his passion for the game. Some people believe that he actually cares more about his looks than he cares about the football itself. But that last line saying that he's back to do what he can die for shows what football means to him. And we're also glad to see him get back on the pitch, which is very, very important, especially in this period that we'll be needing someone to step up and get Stanley Wabali to sit up or go to the bench. But there's also some reaction, coming from Ndidi. Of course, he scored his first goal for Besiktas in the Turkish Super League. That game was played on Wednesday. And the reaction coming from the coach just says how important Ndidi is to this Besiktas side. So the Besiktas coach, Sergen Yalcin, reacting to Ndidi's first goal for the club, he said Ndidi scored a fantastic goal from a set piece. We've been working diligently on a set piece, and we were very happy with this. Winning and getting 3 points were crucial. Our morale has been boosted. That is the coach. That's the reaction from this head coach. And then for the man himself, reacting to his first goal with the club, he said the match went as planned. We knew it would be tough. We wanted to win, and we did. That's the important thing. We knew the opponent's plan. We worked hard and got results. We've worked on dead ball arrangements in training. Everything we worked on in training paid off. This gave us momentum for the match. So that's the reaction from Didi. We hope that he continues to power on, for this side, even if not getting a goal week in, week out, but at least, we hope that he stays fit and be that very, very combative force to be reckoned with in the midfield of this Besiktas side.